So they're very friendly towards us. They're very solicitous of having good relations with the British people and other people. They're so forgiving. In the state of that history, there are Americans in the country. In fact, the idea that it's isolated is just totally blown away by going there. I would encourage everyone to go there because the reality of the situation is just so different from the way it's portrayed. They're very warm, friendly, proud people. And it's true they don't have stress. You know, if you look at South Korea, there are 13,000 suicides a year. If you look at Japan, there are 30,000 suicides a year. North Korea, this phenomenon is pretty much unknown because people do have security. They do have the knowledge that they have full ability to take their kids to a kindergarten and creche, which open 24 hours a day and free to everyone. Can you imagine that? I personally, I'm a doctor, I'm well paid, but I have to pay over £1,000 a month to put my little boy in a nursery for very limited hours during the day. And it's a struggle. Now that for working people means, for let's say your average working class family, means that it's not available. So it means you have to take women out of work, so you further reduce the family income. So the whole business of life in our country is struggle. And it's the kind of struggle that pushes people into a position where they don't see hope very often, for all kinds of reasons. And it's a grind, and it's hard to carry on. And those kind of pressures just simply are not there for the people of North Korea. Yes, they face struggle. Yes, they know that US imperialism is sharpening the knife and constantly creating diplomatic incidents and intrigue around them. But they live nevertheless a good life, a satisfied life. They know good education, they have good food, good clothing. They know that they're not going to be kicked out of their house by the landlord. They know that their children will be educated and they don't have to worry about putting money aside and whether they'll be able to afford university fees. You know, education is free there to any level. And yes, during the difficult period of the counter-revolution when it was hard for them to trade and the sanctions were stepped up to a particular fever pitch, times were hard. But what they had, they shared, they've come through it together, and they have a tremendous sense of unity. People that you meet, whether they're from the party, not from the party, average Koreans in the street, are always talking about their sense of single-hearted unity. And it's a beautiful thing to see in action and not just in words. I was going to just talk from my slideshow, but I've kind of gone off on one. But I would like to... I like to go through some of my slides, just so you can see what I'm talking about in practice. This is a memorial to Comrade Kim Il-sung. It's in the heart of Pyongyang on the hill. This is a shot that mainly looks at the reliefs of these flags. You can see the symbol of the Workers' Party of Korea there, which is a hammer, a sickle, and it's an artist's writing brush, or an intellectual's writing brush, okay? So it's workers, peasants, and intellectuals are the people who together, you know, form the different classes, if you like. And they almost become one class, but they're different elements of society who are responsible for building the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK. And it's the beautiful relief of workers that celebrates a history of struggle. Farmers, workers, soldiers, holding up books, okay, because they understand that ideology and education are the key, were the key to their liberation and remain the key to maintaining their orientation and their ability to fight in a principled and unified way against imperialism. It was a rainy day in which we arrived, but it's not every day a rainy day in Korea, and this is a kind of panorama from there looking over the city. And it's a very beautiful place. This, in fact, is a memorial to Comrade Kim Jong-sik. Now, Kim Jong-sik was the wife of Kim Il-sung, but she was a revolutionary hero in her own right. She was one of the leaders of the anti-Japanese national liberation struggle. She was a general. And this memorial doesn't just celebrate her contribution, it celebrates her. In fact, we went on, what was the date? But it was actually the anniversary. It was the anniversary of her death, and let me think. 22nd of September. And as a result, lots of people were there. As you can see, there are lots and lots of different busts, and they're busts of, you know, we're used to seeing statues in the street. They're all over the place. They tend to be of Duke of Wellington or Admiral Nelson or someone who's played some significant part in British imperialism's history of subjugation of the world, and you get used to it. This was the governor of India. This was a colonial administrator of Burma. Okay, these are the people who are honoured, celebrated, and feted in our country, and that's perfectly normal and natural, of course, to have those statues around any capital. But it's very unnatural, we're told, to have statues who idolize, deify, make into gods normal people, working people, who struggle for the liberation of their country. And everywhere you go, this is what you see in Korea. And all of these busts are actual people who gave their lives, who are the martyrs of the liberation struggle against the Japanese, and they're actual busts. And some of them people from the very early days, there are no actual photos, but Comrade Kim Il-sung and other members of the Communist Party who remember them and respected the role that they played, remembered their faces, had artists to hew their images and place them there in that cemetery. And it's a wonderful thing to see. These are people who gave their lives not knowing that they would ever be victorious, not knowing that they would ever have a liberated territory where they would be glorified and remembered in this way. And it's a very moving place to go. And we went on a day when the family members came and paid respects. And what you can quite clearly see is that the people of Korea haven't forgotten their history. If I can appreciate it just from reading about it from outside, in the face of all the propaganda that's so hostile to Korea, you can best believe that the people of North and of South Korea remember it very well. And don't for a minute think that the people of South Korea are very happy with the division of their country and have no sympathy to the north of Korea. They have a tremendous amount of sympathy towards the concept of reunification. It's something that all Koreans hold very dear in their hearts. And I hope they'll live to see. I'm sure we will. So this is us at this is our 5-man delegation. This is my wife, Sarah Tang. My little boy, Alex. This is Comrade General Secretary Zane Carpenter. This is me, and this is Blanche. Okay, so beautiful revolutionary statues. This is actually the place where, after the liberation in 1945, Kim Il-sung and the Workers' Party of Korea held their Central Committee meetings and had their first really headquarters. Apparently it was initially a Japanese centre of trade. What do you call it? When the Japanese occupied it, they held their trade. Zane doesn't remember. No. Centre of commerce, exactly. A local kind of commerce centre there. So it was a kind of centre of Japanese imperialism that was retaken. This is the Victory Arch to celebrate it was said 1925 to 1945 as being the dates it remembers of the liberation struggle. I'm afraid that I don't have access to all of my photos, and I'll just put this together in quite a kind of hurried way. These are some buildings at the centre of the DPRK. It's not the Children's Palace.
That's the Kim Il-sung Stadium.
Ah, yeah, of course it is. That's the Kim Il-sung Stadium, where we didn't actually go there to see Arirang, did we? We went somewhere else.
No,